squirrels with warts, oozing warts, oozing warts. They're calling them zombie squirrels. So we just had rabbits with horns or tentacles growing out their face, their head. Now we got zombie squirrels. Look at that.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here to the channel, you guys don't know what we do, don't worry, I'm gonna break it down for you guys. We talk about the most scariest and creepiest videos on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG Reels, Facebook, anything weird, unusual, unexplained, you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank the Seekers, man. Was watching all the videos in there entirely. Comment it down below. I really appreciate the support. Found this video for you guys today. Let's do what we do best, Seekers. Stay with me, y'all. Let's seek the truth.
This politician's cloaking device came off and he revealed who he really was.
Why? So he's talking? Listen to his voice.
Okay.
Whoa. Whoa. It sounded a little demonic. He's drinking water to try to fix it, and it's not fixing. That was insane. I've never heard anyone's voice crack like that.
Me either.
Stay weird.
There's some things you probably didn't know, because I didn't. Brazil is by far the country that takes the most showers every 12 hours on average. This man spent 5 months in jail because no one told him his bail was just $2. The Sahara Desert sends millions of tons of dust every year across the Atlantic to the Amazon rainforest. The dust is full of nutrients like phosphorus and iron, which is what actually keeps the Amazon rainforest alive and green. A woman in 2005 named Susan Bennett spent 4 hours a day recording random phrases and sentences, not knowing the purpose. It wasn't until 2011, after a friend who had bought the new iPhone 4S told her that she was the voice of Apple's Siri assistant. A recent study says that the ideal age to get married and have a lot of babies is 26 years old. They say that people who marry at this age have the lowest divorce rates, highest marital satisfaction, and better long-term stability compared to those who marry earlier or later. They say you're mature enough to make informed decisions, but young enough to have the energy and biological advantage for childbearing.
There is absolutely nothing that can convince me that this is not a two-way mirror in the kitchen. And that's a listing photo from this property that was recently for sale in Pennsylvania. Here's another view of it from outside, just for good measure. And then this is what you see as soon as you walk in. A mirror in the kitchen, not one, but two. And while I don't think this one is a two-way mirror, it still just seems unnecessary to have this in the kitchen, especially when it's facing another mirror. Isn't that bad feng shui? Now, at first glance, I thought that these were drag marks, which we have seen in prior listings, but it becomes abundantly clear as you begin to look at more listing photos that this was caused from a hoarding issue, which makes it all the more upsetting when you see evidence of children living in this space. While I must admit that the pink bathtub is kind of a vibe, what's not a vibe is this room. This room fills me with an overwhelming sense of dread. I can't tell you what happened here. Maybe it was nothing, but whatever it is, I don't like it. Am I alone in this, or is anyone else feeling what I'm feeling?
Africa. How is that house worth $40,000, man? The housing market is insane, bro.
Once a new world map, calling the current one the world's longest misinformation campaign. This week, the African Union officially backed what's called the Correct Map campaign, which aims to replace our current standardized world map with a version that shows a country's true size. You see, the Mercator map intentionally distorts the sizes of continents and countries for navigation purposes. So it appears that Africa is a similar size to the US or China, when in reality it is so much bigger that the US, China, India, Japan, and much of Western Europe can all fit into Africa, and there still would be space left over. The African Union says that this over 500-year-old map is outdated, and are now calling for schools, governments, and international institutions to adopt images that reflect a country's true size. They propose the equal Earth projection because they say this is so much more than just a map. It's about Africa's identity and pride. In fact, the head of a campaign group backing this says it's the world's longest misinformation and disinformation campaign, and it simply has to stop. But the question is, what do you think? Does size truly matter, or is the current map fine the way it is?
I don't think they're gonna try to change it.
Live every day as if it's your last, because one day it will be. That statement holds true for these two influencers that were doing a food review sitting in a restaurant when all of a sudden their lives almost changed forever. If you haven't seen the video, it is a little shocking, so viewer discretion is advised. Take a look at this. Bon appetit. Enjoying their food in the restaurant when, wait for it, SUV crashes right through the restaurant where they're recording their food review. Just look at that in slow motion, how dramatic and scary that had to be for both. Thank goodness the two of them walked away with just minor injuries. It could have been the end for both. Nina Unrated and Patrick Blackwood are known for their food reviews all over social media. They are two incredibly great people, and we are grateful that they're both still with us today. This is the moment right here that possibly could have changed their lives forever. As I said at the beginning of this video, live every day as if it's your last, because one day it will be. And we are grateful that these two are with us today to give us another food review. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you.
Gotta live it up, man. You never know.
How you feel about this now abandoned indoor water park that had a giant T-Rex in it. In Scotland, by the way. Like, just knowing that this water park is still there, but abandoned, probably completely closed off to the public, in the complete darkness, possibly still with water in it, who knows, with this giant T-Rex in it. Also, why does it have, like, the B word in its mouth? The red stuff. What? Oh my goodness, I just noticed that. There's also this guy there.
It's a dragon.
For some reason. That is equally horrifying. The shape of it looks like a pipe. I don't much care for him and his creepy teeth. It was called the Time Capsule, and here's it when it was, like, going, and once again, in Scotland, like this, there's a wave pool back here, so there's the ones with the grates, and oh my goodness. Also, this looks like something straight out of the back rooms. I don't like this whatsoever. Who wants to go on the launch pad of doom? They also had a giant water slide ussy in there. Why? More backrooms coated area. The fact that this is all abandoned now is just a sickening. But especially that T-Rex. Imagine going down this little slide and just being in front of this T-Rex in water. Why would they do this?
Did you go to that part?
I was married. I can't afford the marriage. But you sweet upon the heat of a bicycle built for food.
Or should I pop out right there?
I don't think y'all understand. You cannot fucking make this shit up, y'all. We now have fucking squirrels with warts. Oozing warts. Oozing warts. They're calling them zombie squirrels. So we just had fucking rabbits with horns or tentacles growing out their face, their head. Now we got zombie squirrels? Look at this shit. They're calling this disease fibromatosis that squirrels have. Once again, y'all, I have never heard of this shit. I've never seen no fucking squirrel having this shit on their skin either. And I don't want to see it. Imagine you in your backyard and you just see an army of squirrels with this on their body running at you and shit. And the fucking Jones just start popping and oozing out shit. What is you doing? I know what I'm doing. Grabbing that motherfucking... Once again, y'all, wildlife experts said you shouldn't be concerned about this stuff. It doesn't spread to your animals or to you or to anybody you know. And once again, when they say that shit, I still be alarmed like, you saying it, but what if it do spread to me? Now I got big ass warts all over my body, nigga. Y'all let me know down below in the comments. Is this new to you? Have you heard about this before? Let me know. And if you seen this in your backyard, what are you doing? And if you made it to the end of this video, I appreciate you.
It is literally going to disappear in 2 days' time. If you didn't get a chance to see the meteor shower that's extremely rare, then make sure you watch this and share this with someone. This is actually even rarer, and it will not happen again until 2027 or 2028.
Okay.
This is known as the Black Moon, and we will literally be getting a Black Moon. Although this sounds scary, it's not, and it will be a chance for you to see some pretty insane things if the sky is clear. It is the third new moon of the season, which actually makes it a black moon, which is very rare. As I say, it's estimated to happen again in 2028 or 2027. It happens when it's in the new moon phase, as I say, and the illuminated side is actually facing away from Earth, meaning it's completely invisible to us. So wherever you are, you won't even be able to see the moon. It will just vanish, and you'll probably look up and go, what the hell, even if it's a clear night. Although you won't actually see anything, you're going to be able to see something else. With no light source, the sky will be so dark, making it a perfect opportunity to see the stars, stargaze, see comets passing, whatever else is up there. You don't often get a chance like this, so if you can get out of a city to somewhere with little light pollution, you're going to see some pretty crazy things.
What's going on these days? This kid just admitted to killing his mother while she was asleep because she took his phone away. To be honest, this isn't even a kid, this is a grown man. He's 21 years old, got mad at his mother that she took his phone, killed her. Now he's gonna spend 30 years behind bars because of this. He was 16 years old at the time when he came home from a night shift and shot his mom, you know. Instead of giving the phone back, she went upstairs and she just went to sleep, you know, she took the phone away, whatever. But instead of sneaking in the room and getting a firearm and stuff like that and shooting your mom, why don't you just sneak in the room and grab the phone and just go downstairs? That would have solved two issues right there. You know, he would be going to jail and he would have had his phone back. He then called his girlfriend to say he found his mom covered in blood in the bed, you know, acting like he didn't do it. You know, the girlfriend's dad came over, saw that she was dead, and then the guy's stories just did not match up whatsoever. Eventually, he was just like, screw it, you know, he admitted to killing her after a while. Because he was a juvenile too at the time, that's why he probably didn't get a life sentence or like, you know, the death penalty if they have that where they're from in Tennessee. But this is such a senseless case.
Here's some
over a phone,
examples
really?
Of the Mandela effect, part 4. Do you remember sitting at your TV as a kid and seeing this come on?
No, you unk status if you did though. Looney Tunes, the OG.
Most people will recall this being spelled like this. However, this was never the case. It was always spelled as tunes, not tunes.
If you want or plan on buying great value shrimp, you better think twice about it. So the FDA is warning the public not to eat, serve, or sell Walmart's great value shrimp. And they're telling you this because it got contaminated with a radioactive substance. You heard what I just said? Walmart could be possibly selling radioactive shrimp. So apparently they detected these radioactive shrimp before they crossed the border. And if you didn't know, they were coming from an Indonesian distributor. And what they're saying this means is that none of these radioactive shrimp made it across the border. Or did they? But hear this out. This shit is becoming real convenient. First you have radioactive bees. Now you have radioactive shrimp. Now they're saying that all products are gonna be banned from coming into the United States from this company. But what company are they talking about? Are they talking about Great Value? Or are they talking about the Indonesian company that they was getting the shrimp from? Think about it as this. Great Value is a cheap option. People usually like to get the cheap option. Is this the only time we're going to have to worry about a situation like this? Radioactive shrimp? What's next? I'm out.
He's spitting, bro. Everybody, man, when it comes to that price range, bro, they were always going to go for the cheaper option. I wouldn't eat freaking buy seafood from freaking Walmart like that anyway. That's just not me, man. But when you got radioactive shrimp, radioactive freaking hornets, man, what's going on this year, bro? There's a lot of radioactive activity.
Ever heard of Skinny Bob?
This is scary. It sounds scary.
It's a little spooky. Skinny Bob was this random video posted by this channel, Ivan0135 on YouTube. And this video was posted 11 years ago. But in this video, a collection of videos from 1942 to 1969 of interviewing an alien. The crazy thing about this Ivan0135 dude, never monetized the videos, never came out and said who it was. So you look at that and you think that does kind of look like it'd be CGI or something, right?
Yeah.
It's been tested by studios and it has not been discredited yet.
Ever?
They said the way that it was filmed, because it was filmed on like one of those old cameras.
Yeah.
They said it was completely accurate with an old camera. The theories are that it was a real government film. Some believe that it's connected to the Majestic 12 group. That's basically what we would call the Men in Black now.
Okay.
But it's a group of like different
division of that, the CIA.
Government,
that just focuses on that.
Some believe that was actually from the KGB too. No one's taking credit for it either.
Maybe that was the whole thing. It's like, I can't put my name on this, but I can put it out.
It's insane.
Now, of course, Google will tell you these inventors were nothing but con men, liars, frauds, or just scientists with great ideas who didn't know any better. It will also tell you zero-point energy is impossible, and anyone who stands up for it or even talks about it is attacked or shamed for spreading misinformation. Google debunkers. Compliant NPCs who believe they can irrefutably debunk any extreme claim with a 5-second Google search truly are the downfall of society. The modern-day version of Vladimir Lenin's useful idiot. Google debunkers. Love you guys. You're not allowed to talk like that. You present your theories as if they are fact.
Morbid Facts, Part 702. Carlos Haffy Rodriguez was ejected through a windshield in a drug-fueled crash as a teenager, smashing his skull so badly that surgeons had to remove the entire upper half of it, leaving his brain covered only by skin. Incredibly, he survived without any severe cognitive damage, but went on to rack up arrests for drugs, arson, and other crimes, his caved-in head becoming one of the internet's most infamous mugshots. Here's a photo of tobacco company CEOs declaring under oath that nicotine is not addictive. The moment became infamous when internal documents later revealed that tobacco executives had known for decades about nicotine's highly addictive properties and had even manipulated nicotine levels in cigarettes to enhance dependency. In 18th century Europe, the wealthy often devoured sugar with no real dental care, rotting their teeth into black stumps that often fell out. To keep up appearances, they wore dentures, not wooden as legend claims, but often filled with real human teeth. These were bought from the poor, pulled from slaves or prisoners, or scavenged from battlefields, sometimes still bloody from fallen soldiers. With no concept of sterilization, they could carry infections, even syphilis, into the wearer's mouth. In advanced cases, the disease could slowly eat away at the face, collapsing the nose and leaving a grotesque hollow mask where features used to be.
So they
Your nicotine fact was insane.
Taking the natural process away, I don't too much like that. What make this more interesting is look who's behind this project. But y'all let me know y'all thoughts on this video in the comments on what y'all think about them just making food poof out of thin air from a machine. In the comments, like or follow for more wisdom. Stay tuned.
People are now mad at Jenna Ortega after what she just said on the newest red carpet for Wednesday season 2, and people are not happy with Jenna's response. So after Jenna Ortega was at a Wednesday red carpet in South Korea, after people are saying that Jenna Ortega was giving an interviewer a hard time, and even more worse, so this is all coming after some strange behavior that Jenna has been doing on the other Wednesday red carpets. They're saying that she is being shy one moment, then happy the next, as well as other moments where she has been crashing out on fans that have been asking for autographs. With a lot of people saying that there seems to be something wrong and that all of this drama in South Korea makes everything so much more worser. And this is where it gets even more insaner. So what happened is that on the red carpet in South Korea, where a magician was doing a magic trick to Jenna Ortega, the magician asked her what kind of card that Jenna Ortega had, and her response was spade. And seemingly the magician asked her if she could repeat what she said, and then Jenna was seemingly not happy that she had to repeat herself, and the way that she said spade the second time, should people really be mad over this?
So this guy drags a magnet across sand on a beach and picks up a bunch of heavy metals, and you'll actually see him melt down these metals. And it's interesting what you see at the end here. Perhaps aluminum, you know, something that they admit that they're spraying in the skies. Look at this, he melts it, takes some water. Where do you think this is coming from, guys? Where do you think these heavy metals are coming from?
3D printed steak is here. Let me show you this, and after I do, I'll tell you why it's not so great.
A juicy, sizzling steak made by computer. While obtaining regular meat is a process that's been taking place for millennia, cow, butcher, beef, Redefined Meat, a meat alternative startup out of Israel, makes their product using a highly technical process. The mix of soy and pea protein, chickpeas, beetroot, nutritional yeast, and coconut fat is formed into steak-like shapes using a 3D printer.
Our goal is to become the largest meat company in the world just by harnessing technology instead of animals.
Meat substitutes are not new, but unlike the soy-based crumbles that mimic ground beef, Redefined Meat's product is designed to act, taste, and cut with happy.
The texture feels right. Even the smell smells like the real thing. Really authentic for me.
Now, I'm not going to talk about that company at all. But if somebody else is making 3D printed meat, how can we possibly know what's really in it? Especially if it tastes like the real thing. There's this stuff called microplastics that's become so prevalent from all the stuff that people have made with plastics that it's being found in human tissue. Who's to say some company making 3D printed meat couldn't accidentally put some of that in there? Look, I'm gonna keep eating the way I do, cause I'm old, fat, and the damage is done for me. But to the younger people out there, I say, please be cautious. Cause after stories like this, you never know what you're really eating. Shabadoo Bushkis! Shabadoo!
Yeah. Various urban legends that actually turned out to be true. In the 1970s in Long Beach, California, there was an amusement park called the Pike Amusement, and inside this park was this creepy little fun house called Life in the Dark.
Okay.
Inside of Life in the Dark were a bunch of mannequins, and this urban legend started circulating around that all of them were fake except one. There was just something about this mannequin that turned people away. They said he was a little too human, and they even said that the area around it was just stanky. So flashing forward to a few years later, a TV crew comes in to film The $6 Million Man, and they decide to use Laugh in the Dark as one of their sets. So the director's trying to get the perfect shot, and this one mannequin that's been in question is in the shot, but he's just not liking how it's looking with it in it. So he asked one of the crew members to move it. So this crew member goes over, and when he tries to move the mannequin, its arm falls off. Inside is human bone. It's actually a mummified body. The body belonged to Elmer McCurdy, who was dubbed the bandit who wouldn't give up. He was an outlaw who was robbing a train in Oklahoma in 1911 when he was taken out by the police. His body was on display at an Oklahoma funeral home, but ownership changed and he got shifted around and around and around until he finally ended up at the Pike Amusement, and everyone thought he was fake until he was finally positively ID'd in 1976.
This is why you should never read someone else's diary. Once there was a girl named Samantha who took her friends to her dad's lake house because her dad grew up in the area and actually named the lake after her, Lake Samantha. But as soon as her friends arrived, they noticed something strange. There was a doll hanging on every door in all the houses in town. Samantha explained it's because of a local urban legend. Years ago, a man escaped from an insane asylum nearby, unalived his entire family, then disappeared. Since then, people would go missing around the same time every year, so the dolls were used for protection. But after spending a day by the lake, Samantha and her friends found an old diary, half buried in the dirt near an abandoned house. They opened it up and saw multiple entries dating back to the 80s, but the most terrifying part was the last entry dated August 13, 2010. And it said, "I'm so proud of my daughter. She doesn't hear the voices and she has a lot of friends. Sometimes I take her to these woods. I even named the lake after her." That's when they all heard the sound of twigs snapping behind them, and when they turned around, they saw Samantha's father, saying, "You weren't supposed to find that. Follow for more."
Records that will never be broken again. Number 1, the woman with the most children. Back in the 1800s, a Russian woman named Vasiliev gave birth to 69 total children.
God
she
damn.
had 16 pairs of twins, 7 triplets, and 4 quadruplets. And no one has come close to matching that number since. Number 2, the most nuclear explosions ever survived. This is Tsutomu Namaguchi. He has survived 2 different nuclear explosions. Tsutomu was on a business trip when the first nuclear bomb was dropped on Hiroshima Hiroshima in 1945. After miraculously surviving that explosion, he returned to his hometown of Nagasaki just in time to witness the second atomic bombing. But again, he miraculously survived and lived till the age of 93.
Do you know how lucky you have to be to survive 2 of those events in history? Yeah, something on his side. Because he survived 2 of them. That's insane. And those women who held those kids, I don't think that record's probably ever going to be broken. 69? What the hell?
Are the creepiest YouTube channels to ever exist.
Talk about it.
Part 1. Number 1, Meat Sleep. Meat Sleep began posting in 2015 and has since then stopped posting, but that still doesn't change the fact that its horrifying videos and very disturbing history linked to the channel gives it a spot on this list. Meat Sleep then removed the several videos it had on the channel even after garnering over 16,000 subscribers, but that still doesn't change the fact that some people saw some very terrible things. Most of the channel consisted of videos that seemed to be of people being stalked, but there was one video in particular that people pointed out that really just got under their skin. There was one video on the channel titled Meat Pig, which in cannibals' terms is actually human meat. Many people believe that the creator behind these videos is secretly a murderer and a cannibal as well. I assume the creator of this channel is still unknown, but who knows, they may be in jail.
And they was posting on YouTube and getting away with it? That was evidence right there. Man. Meat Sleep. First time hearing about that, man. Tap in with us, you're gonna learn. Just edit. All them out.
Killed his mom over a bad grade. This is 15-year-old Gregory Ramos. And on November 2nd, 2018, Gregory Ramos got into a fight with his mother, Gail Clevenger. The fight started over his bad school grades, which resulted in him strangling his own mother to death. Gregory then proceeded to call 2 of his friends to help him bury her body and stage a robbery at his house. Gregory buried her body under a church fire pit and was sentenced to 45 years in prison. Now, what I'm about to show you is Gregory explaining exactly how he committed the murder, and it's absolutely disturbing, because keep in mind, this was his own mother.
Whatever. Alright, I'll tell you what happened. Alright, so I got home, I got an argument with my mom, she slapped me across the face, she began to hit me, she started beating me, I didn't like it, so I strangled her to death. Alright? I put her in a wheelbarrow, I put her in my car, I took the car, I had a mental breakdown where I almost committed suicide 3 times, I drove around Daytona, I dropped the wheelbarrow in some random ass location, and I drove back to the church. I began to dig a hole. I dig a hole right under the fucking fire pit. I dug a pretty deep hole. Pretty deep. Yeah, 2 minutes to put a body in.
No remorse.
All this time, my mom was taking building body. I dragged it from my car to the fire pit. In which case, I tried to cut the wedding ring off her finger because I wanted to pawn it, but I couldn't. Because I have a nice charm to cut bones. Oh well, whatever. Anyways, so I dug that hole, threw her body in there, filled back in, made it look nice and natural, dumped my clothes, and then I went home.
I'm being serious. If you ever see this at the beach, do not touch it. And if it ever latches onto you like this, get help immediately. Before you do anything else, favorite this video because this could actually save your life one day. Now, at first glance, like me, you would think this is an alien creature from the deepest corners of hell. Whereas in fact, this is actually a detached octopus limb. And yes, if an octopus's arm becomes disconnected from its body, it does have the ability to live on for a short period of time by itself, explaining why it's able to move like a creature straight out of an alien movie. This, of course, is absolutely horrifying and a brand new conversation to bring up with your therapist if you saw this going about its business on the beach. Now, the suction power of this single arm would be incredibly difficult to remove on your own, because if you didn't know, one suction cup from an octopus can hold up to 35 pounds. And I am talking Great British. And on top of that, hurts. Like, really badly. Now, this most likely wouldn't make this gentleman a Twitter hashtag. However, I wouldn't like to imagine if this was stuck on a more sensitive part of the body. Like the neck. So here's Here's the best case scenario. You see it, you avoid it, you survive. I've said this to literally anyone you know because they might need this video one day.
In 2010.
That's crazy, bro. I didn't even know freaking an octopus, I guess arm or leg had that much freaking suction power, bro. So if you see it, follow his advice, turn away, bro. Don't try to attach that onto your body, man. We learn it.
And an avid caver named Jeff decided to go to Madagascar to explore a natural cave shaft he had discovered years earlier. He arrived in country. Jeff enters the cave when he notices something out of the corner of his eye, and he sees thousands of black widow spiders trying to escape the light. As much as Jeff wanted to stop right there and go right back up to the surface, he couldn't. He needed technical gear, and his technical gear was packed in his backpack, and so he would have to descend to the bottom, then take his pack off, get the gear out, and go back up. He began his slow, awful descent into this cave filled with spiders. He'd bump into the wall, he'd hear them scatter all over the walls, and then he saw them climbing on his sleeve, he saw them on the rope. He finally gets to the bottom, and he opens it up. Spiders crawl out of his bag, carefully reaches in and pulls out his technical gear, throws it up, and he begins making his way back up. Once he gets to the surface, the first thing he does is he strips all of his clothing off to get all the spiders off of his clothing. Luckily, he doesn't get band-aid. He takes his notebook out, and he scratches off the title he had given this cave from the last time he was here, which was the Crooked Tube. He scratches that out, and on top of it, he writes, "The Entrance to Hell."
Things we all believed as kids. For some reason, I thought that if I swallowed watermelon seeds, an entire tree would grow inside of me. Now at night, if you didn't start running to your room as soon as you turned off the lights, the monster that was somehow chasing you would catch you and eat you. A blanket could literally protect us from anything, and I would still argue that my blanket is a modern-day shield. My parents used to tell me if I crossed my eyes for long enough, my eyes would stay stuck that way forever.
Yep, those were like myths as the kids.
Things you can't unsee. The KFC logo looks like Colonel Sanders has a tiny body. Now I can never unsee it. Have you ever noticed that the letter G is simply a spinning arrow? Those drowning signs at the beach look very similar to LOL. There's nothing funny about drowning. The Dodge Viper logo looks like Daffy Duck upside down. Ever noticed how water fountain drains look like a Wi-Fi logo? This sign for a German school looks a bit suspicious. Did you know there's a bear hidden inside the Toblerone logo? Did you ever notice Nelson from The Simpsons is simply a young Barney? And in the 7-Eleven logo, only the N is in lowercase. The Hunger Games Mockingjay logo looks very similar to Johnny Bravo. And I bet you never realized the Big Bang Theory's Dexter's Laboratory grown up. Also, the collar on the Wendy's girl says Mom. Homer Simpson has MG sneaked onto him. These are the initials of Matt Groening, The Simpsons creator.
I never realized.
And finally, the Adidas logo kind of looks like a sinking ship.
Damn, all these hidden logos and stuff, bro. They were right in front of our eyes and we never even knew. It goes to make you think, man, what other logos have hidden messages behind it? The more you know. That's the edit. We're calling them out.
Scary facts that will blow your mind. Part 1. The middle of nowhere is an actual place within New Mexico. The legend goes that an elderly couple lived out there with their dog and witnessed many strange and bizarre things. One night, they reported seeing a strange creature that they identified as a skinwalker. After reporting this to the police, the family had vanished under strange circumstances. Their dog, however, was left behind. This is the story that Courage the Cowardly Dog was based off of. Like and follow for more.
And all jokes in kids' cartoons you probably didn't notice.
Hey, Judy! Want a pie with a real bug? Yeah! Oh, lady, cut like lava. Yeah.
So, being a ladybug automatically makes me a girl. Is that it, Flyboy? Huh?
Right! She's a god!
What would happen if you didn't have a shower for 60 years? This is the world's dirtiest man, and he was born in 1928 in Iran, and apparently he hasn't taken a shower in 60 years, because he says he's scared of water and he thinks having a shower could kill him. And because he hasn't showered for so long, his immune system has gotten used to his body being this dirty. But over over the years, people from out of town have challenged him to have a shower in exchange for money. And he still tells them that he's so scared of it. So they offered him even more money, so he took it. But a few days after taking a shower, he died. Because apparently his immune system was not used to him being so clean, which caused his body to go into extreme shock and pain. And before he died, he described the pain as a sharp burning sensation. What do you think caused this?
He really passed away because he took a shower? One of the most bizarre cases we've seen yet, Seekers.
A bad guy.
Bermuda Triangle? Yeah, that's another one. Antarctica. We ain't going to those places, man. That's off the bucket list. There's this guy that's at it. Call him like we see it.
A time traveler just took a lie detector test and passed it. I'm about to share with you all of his predictions for the upcoming future. So quickly make sure to favorite this video so we can come back to it to see if he was right. Let's start off with August of 2028, where aliens are meant to land here on Earth.
Yes, it is true that aliens did land on Earth in August 2028.
In fact, he states that we already know about the existence of aliens before this, as it becomes public knowledge. What? Next up in the year 2030, the world will be governed under one law. This actually isn't a bad one. All of Earth's countries converge into one super nation.
In 2030, all of the world's countries converge into one super nation.
Next up, he goes on to say he has a chip inside of him. In fact, all humans from 2045 have this, and it has a name. Watch this.
I do have an implanted chip in my hand known as the One.
He claims it'll be rolled out to the public in 2029. It's a good thing no one's working on this, right? But there's even more predictions, and as I said, he was on a lie detector machine, in which every single answer came out true. In fact, even the lie detector machine guy said that he answered very quickly and very confidently. So it leads me to ask you this, is it all real? Now do me a favor, send this to literally anyone you know, because your friends need to see this.
For and after animals growing up. This is what a baby white tiger looks like. They're born blind and only weigh 2 to 3 pounds, but they soon turn into this. Adult white tigers are ferocious and dangerous. They have a bite force of 1050 psi. To put that in perspective, a human's bite force is 162.
Damn.
They also grow razor-sharp teeth. This is what a baby Alaskan Malamute looks like. They're born with blue eyes and are tiny, fluffy, and cute. But when they grow up, they look like this. They become powerful and fierce, and their blue eyes change to brown, amber, or hazel. This is what a baby salamander looks like. They are tiny at only 2.5 centimeters in length, but when they grow older, they turn massive. Their skin turns thick and scaly. They also live for a very long time, sometimes 80 years or more. This is what a baby crocodile looks like. They're very cute and tiny at only 20 centimeters, but they're not so cute when they grow up. They become one of the most aggressive animals known to man, and can weigh a mind-blowing 2,200 pounds. This is what a baby pit bull looks like. They're very cute with oversized eyes and ears. But when they get older, they become very muscular.
Damn.
If not raised well, these can be very dangerous, which is why pit bulls are banned in over 10 countries.
What you're about to see is intense. What you just saw is the United States Coast Guard raiding a high-speed submarine in the Eastern Pacific Ocean moving more than 17,000 pounds of cocaine. On June 18th, 2019, a Coast Guard surveillance aircraft tracked and intercepted the drug-filled narco sub hundreds of miles off the Colombian-Ecuadorian coastline. The video shows a member of the Coast Guard riding on top of the speeding submarine.
Oh, what the hell?
He then starts pounding on the hatch and demanding it to come to a stop. 3 other Coast Guard members then jump ship and board the 40-foot-long submarine. The video then continues, and you see the presumed trafficker emerging from the submarine hatch with his hands up, surrender. And in total, 5 alleged of smugglers were seized on board the vessel and were handed over for prosecution by the United States Drug Enforcement Administration.
Are these your friends, the police?
Now, just watch the full encounter unfold. It's honestly something straight out of a video game.
Okay. Did he have to like jump onto the sub? Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be hard to get on.
Is he speaking like another language too? Oh yeah, he definitely jumped. This is something like out of a movie scene. Whew.
Job? So make sure these criminals survive long enough to have that justice served.
That was like out of a movie scene. Serious. Where's the? Where's another edit? Stay away from those dolls.
Country, they decided that these are the top 21 most hated foods in the world. Coming in at number 21 is Brussels sprouts.
Really?
Science were born to innately reject bitter foods. I couldn't agree more. At number 20 is cantaloupe. I don't agree with this at all. I love cantaloupe. Do I like it as much as watermelon, dragon fruit? No, but it definitely should not be on this list. At number 19 is pickles. I personally love pickles, but a lot of people voted them on the list because they're obnoxious shape. Also, people don't like their sour smell and annoying crunch. At number 18 is black licorice. Definitely.
Yep.
Compared to red licorice or other candy, yeah, it needs to be on that list. At number 17, you guessed it, canned tuna. Tuna salad was actually labeled as Atlanta, Georgia's #1 most hated food. At number 16 is candy corn.
Candy corn.
I love it so much, I do not understand that. At number 15 is Spam. I just don't understand the hype behind the canned meat. At number 14 is mayonnaise. I actually have a traumatic childhood experience with mayonnaise, so I would put this at number 1 on my list. At number 13 is ginger, based off of its smell. I actually love ginger, and when I'm sick, I make a hot honey lemon ginger tea. It's the way to go. At number 12 is liver. Do I even need to say more?
Yeah, no.
At number 11 is pineapple pizza. If you're somebody that likes pineapple on your pizza, jail.
Not me.
Just go. Jail. Now for the top 10, bologna. I used to love bologna as a kid, and then I had it like 20,000 times. I haven't had it in like literally 25 years. Number 9 is circus peanuts. Totally disagree with that. I love these things so much. Number 8 is eggplants. Doesn't taste like eggs at all and super bitter. Definitely should be on the list. Number 7 is bitter gourd. I've personally never had it before, but I guess it has good medicinal traits. It was voted as one of the most hated foods in China.
Okay.
Number 6 is the durian fruit. Supposedly it doesn't taste bad, but the smell is absolutely awful. And for our top 5 comes tomatoes.
Tomatoes?
I've tried so hard to like tomatoes, the different textures, I just can't get with it. Number 4 is mushrooms. This one blew me away because I love mushrooms on pizza, by themselves, as a meat substitute, but I guess the rest of the world doesn't think so. Number 3 is cilantro. Now there's actually a genetic reason behind this. If you ask a room of 100 people if they like cilantro, 14% of them will say it tastes like soap. At number 2 is olives. A lot of people think they have a very bitter, distinct flavor, and some people say they're an acquired taste. And at number 1 on the list, you guessed it, beets.
Beets?
33% of the world said they hated beets because of their earthy flavor. Let me know in the comments which food is your least favorite and which ones you thought should have been on the list.
Signs that you or your friends are serial killers. Number 1, antisocial behavior. Number 2, setting things on fire. It doesn't have to be houses. Number 3, torturing animals. Number 4, having a troubled family history and substance abuse. Number 5, they're pretty smart but cannot keep a job. Do you know anyone that could be a serial killer?
Here's some of the most random fun facts you will ever hear in your life. Armadillo shells are actually bulletproof.
One time a man was hospitalized when he shot at an armadillo and the bullet ricocheted off the shell and hit him instead. There's only one letter in the entire alphabet that isn't in any US state name, and that letter is Q. There's not a single state with the letter Q in its name.
Really?
71% of the earth is covered in water, and humans can only use 0.007% of that water. 2.5% of the total water is fresh water, and only 1% of that is actually accessible. The bumblebee bat is the smallest mammal in the entire world. These things can rest on your fingertips and you might not even know because they weigh 0.05 to 0.07 ounces. Ostriches are the world's largest and heaviest living bird. That's why they can't fly, but they are built for running. And they can reach speeds of up to 43 miles per hour, and they can pretty easily coast at 30 miles per hour. The longest English word is 189,819,000 letters long. It's a protein and its nickname is titin, and it would take around 3.5 hours to say the word out loud.
The hell?
People who gained real-life superpowers after an accident. Jason Padgett was a party animal who hated school and got terrible grades. But one day, two men savagely robbed and attacked Jason outside of a karaoke bar, leaving him with a severe concussion. The concussion caused him to become a mathematical genius and made him learn fractal geometry, which he had never been taught before. When Derek Amato was 39 years old, he hit his head after diving into a swimming pool and was diagnosed with a concussion and 35% hearing loss. After that, Derek began to see black and white keys in his head, and out of nowhere, he began to play the piano like an expert. Ben McMahon was in a car accident in 2015 and fell into a coma for a week. When he woke up, he could speak perfect Chinese even though he had only learned the basics as a child. Tony Cicerio was struck by lightning after making a call in a phone booth. Within a couple days, he was addicted to music, which he wasn't before. After trying the piano, he became a musical artist, composing his own music.
This mother hits the...
Man, what is up, man? These freak accidents, bro. Like, it really sounded like something out of a comic book, man. You know, something traumatic happens to them. They wake up with new abilities or powers or something like that. Can't believe those stories, man. Are real. We're going to have to check them out, see if we can find any more.
Sticky notes in her daughter's sock to be saved from captivity. This 28-year-old mother and two kids, 7-year-old daughter and 4-year-old son, Mason Dominguez, were held captive by a man named Brandon Tusland. This all started in January 2021 when the father of the two kids, Eli Dominguez, passed away from pneumonia. The mother was happily married to Eli, but since his death, she began to struggle financially. That's when Eli's former friend, Brandon, offered to support her and her two kids. In March 2021, the mother and two kids moved into Brandon's home, and that's when he became controlling and abusive. He alienated her from her family, made her quit her job, and confiscated her phone. He put locks on the bedroom doorknobs, installed motion sensors, and duct taped her to the bed. She was also handcuffed when she rode in the car with him. But one day, the mother spotted a sticky notepad and a pen in his car, and that's when she began a weeks-long plan to seek help. The mother found the perfect chance to put a sticky note in her daughter's sock, and on February 22nd at 8:40 a.m., the 7-year-old girl went to school and gave the sticky note to her teacher. The note said that her mother was being held against her will and she needed help right away. School officials notified authorities and Brandon was arrested right away. But it doesn't end there. This is when things get super disturbing. Brandon kept her kids away from her most of the time, and especially when she was locked up. And she actually had not seen her 4-year-old son, Mason Dominguez, since December 11th. And she suspected he was dead. When the mother lost full contact with her son, she knew she had to find a way out to save her and her daughter. When police searched his house, they found the remains of 4-year-old Mason Dominguez in his freezer in his garage.
Just a dark case seekers, man. She was smart.
Tastiophobia. Thalassophobia.
Level 1. It's good. I'm still good right now. It's kind of scary. you imagine being out there? Yeah, I can't do that. Damn.
These toy designers messed up big time. I'm pretty sure there was a better spot to put this straw on Buzz Lightyear. Come on. And I've never seen a duck with 4 legs before. Have you? I poop glitter. But why is this even a toy? And why this designer made Harry Potter blue? I'll never understand. And this looks like a normal cute horse, right? Well, it actually has a Barbie head as the tail. I'm a sweet baby. Let's have fun together. Yeah, you don't look too sweet. And
What
I think
the
there's
hell?
something up with this Woody doll. And I'm not sure what's going on with this baby's eye.
What the hell is wrong with those toy designers, man? They weren't thinking.
Here are some of the rarest human mutations that actually exist. Firstly, every 1 in 1,000 people have a perfect 10 face, meaning that all of their features fit perfectly within these lines. Now, every 1 in 107 people experience something called mirror touch. It's where you feel the sensation of touch in the same or opposite body part when you see somebody else being touched. Now, 4% of people have something known as sweaty palm syndrome. I'm sure you can guess what that is. It's where your palms sweat when you're not even being active. And the rarest mutation is werewolf syndrome. This is where you have excessive hair growth all over your body, and only 50 people worldwide have this.
This is Tragedy by the Sea.
Werewolf syndrome. Interesting.
Photos of all time.
Okay, so first glance at this photo, you just think it's a couple arguing at the beach, right? But believe it or not, this photo might have the most unsettling and disturbing backstory ever. On the morning of April 2nd, 1954, Los Angeles Times photographer named John Gandhi, who was pictured in the middle of this photo, was relaxing on his front yard of his beachfront house when he heard a neighbor shout, "Something's happening on the beach." He then instinctively grabbed his camera and rushed over to see the horrified couple clutching each other on the beach. On the shore stood a young couple named Mr. and Mrs. McDonald, and their body language made John's stomach turn. He realized that someone must be lost, and he then took a photograph from 200 yards away. Only then did he learn that just moments before, the couple's 19-month-old son Michael, who had been playing in the yard, had wandered down to the beach and crawled into the violent waters while they weren't looking. Despite the back and forth efforts by the parents, there was nothing they can do but just wait. Unfortunately, later that day, the child's dead body was washed up about a mile away on the beach. And this photo, titled "Tragedy by the Sea," appeared on the front page of the Times the very next day. John Gandhi then won the 1955 Pulitzer Prize Award, calling the photo poignant and profoundly moving. But he also received heavy criticism for capitalizing on the family's tragedy for his photo opportunity. But now take a look at this photo, knowing everything you do, and tell me it's not one of the saddest and most disturbing photos ever.
The darkest conspiracy theories. The Teletubbies theory. The theory says that the show is inspired by historic events that happened in a Bulgarian mental facility. Each Teletubby is inspired by a kid that was experimented on. Lola was based on a child who had facial disfigurement and had to smile all the time. Tinky Winky was based on a deaf child who was tied to a fence outside and suffered frostbite. Gypsy was inspired by a child who was constantly sick and ended up lying in his own puke. And Poe was based on a child who fell into fire, which is recognizable by his color is red.
This 14-year-old boy
Adds up.
his 83-year-old neighbor. Viewers' discretion is strongly advised. On August 29th of 2018, 14-year-old Tyrone Harvin told his 83-year-old neighbor, Dorothy Mae Neal, that he would help her with some chores inside of her apartment. Before walking into her apartment, he made sure to grab a handful of condoms. Tyrone did help Dorothy with some chores before attacking her with a lamp. After that, Tyrone S.a'd her, he fled her apartment, and he left her seriously injured on the floor and naked. Neighbors had asked police to do a welfare check on Dorothy since they hadn't seen her around for a couple of days. When officers showed up at her apartment, they noticed dried blood on her doorknob, and that's when they saw Dorothy lying naked on the floor. She was then taken to the University of Maryland Hospital Trauma Unit and unfortunately passed away that next day. When officers were at Dorothy's home, they noticed that there was several condom wrappers around her body as well as used condoms. A A broken, bloodied lamp was also found by officers. Dorothy's autopsy revealed that she suffered extensive trauma to her head and genitals. There was DNA on Dorothy's body and in those condoms, and that DNA matched up to Tyrone. Despite all of the evidence, Tyrone's mom stood by his side and truly believed that he would never do something like this. On June 9th of 2022, Tyrone was convicted on first-degree murder, first-degree SA, and use of a deadly weapon. Tyrone was also sentenced to life in prison.
Oh no.
All life over, there you
No,
go.
no, 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 silly. To try it. No, no, no. But it exploded. And they were both found dead.
Here's some
Sounds like
random
an edit.
things we all did as kids. Who remembers pouring glue all over their hand and peeling it off? How satisfying was that?
I
And we
remember that.
definitely have all gotten our fingers stuck in one of these at least one time. Who
True.
remembers feeling like the coolest kid with a pencil this small? And we all ran our fingers along these grooves at school. Admit it, we all stabbed our eraser with our pencil like this. And we definitely all unraveled the design of these pencils. And we all dove to the bottom of the pool to pick up these rings. Who remembers using these blocks in school? And we definitely all tried pushing down all of the colors at one time.
Did any of you guys do that, Seekers, in school? I remember
It's not
that.
something that's terribly new, but have you heard about the woman that is haunting AI pictures? This is the face, and nobody can explain why she keeps showing up in AI images. If you look at her, she's not really general. I mean, there are specific characteristics here that are consistent. Yet nobody knows which prompts are generating this woman. Nobody knows why her face continues to appear in different models. So this has opened up one of my favorite questions about the idea that AI pictures can be haunted. And don't forget, if things like this are of interest to you, make sure to go check out the podcast.
War generals friendly to study.
Wow.
Coyote managed to finesse its two biggest enemies, and all they had to do was wait and play the long game. So once upon a time, humanity saw this canyon puppy and decided it was on site ever since. America started murking coyotes like they were made out of oil. Mark Twain hated it so much, he wrote a 3-page MLA format essay on why coyotes deserve nothing. If you thought Kendrick hated Drake, that is nothing on the abhorrence this man had for a travel-sized wolf. So much that it literally inspired a pain magnet of a Looney Tune. Now here's the first problem of beefing with coyotes. Coyotes are basically canine cockroaches. The harder you try to murk them, the harder they work to birth them. Apparently they even have this roll call where a female will call out and all the coyotes in an area will answer. And if she doesn't hear a lot of yotes back, it'll actually trigger her body to make more pups. Now op number 2, wolves don't mess with coyotes at all. Like to a homicidal level. To the point where wolves will hard bully coyotes in the same area. Now here's where the get back happened. While we were out here spam killing coyotes, we were also at war with wolves. Except getting generationally stepped on by wolves made coyotes that much more adaptable. So while the big bad wolf was getting smoked, coyotes were out here Euro-stepping extinction. And when wolves got packed up in the US, for coyotes it was free real estate. So not only did we accidentally become coyote allies, the wolf dating pool got so low, eventually they started doing the unspeakable with the ops to survive, leading to the coy-wolf. It's exactly what it sounds like. Remember, wolves hate coyotes more than anything. So just like that, coyotes managed to outcompete their biggest enemy and also colonize their bloodline. And with coyotes found in every state that isn't Hawaii, they basically humbled humanity too. And that's why I rock with them. They're alive out of spite, and I respect that.
Man. A merge between coyote and wolf, both the ops joining together, man. All because of us. Crazy story in Animal Kingdom history.
Unexpected emergency alert systems in different countries. Firstly, if you don't know, countries have different emergency alert systems. The one I'm used to is America's that sounds like this.
Yup.
But on the other hand, we have the country of Barbados, which honestly sounds like club music. Next is Japan, which to me isn't that scary, it just sounds like a notification. Now, one that I would genuinely be terrified by is Ireland's. Just imagine waking up to this. Finally, you know, I'm kind of glad that America's emergency alarm isn't too scary because Denmark is on another level.
Nightmarish facts about your body that you probably shouldn't think about. Due to the brain's lack of pain receptors, brain surgery is often performed while the patient is awake and talking. And in some cases of brain surgery, the surgeon will pull your face forward like a banana. Men's nipples can be stimulated enough to produce milk. Once you turn 30 years old, you you can expect to lose half an inch every 10 years. When you developed in the womb, your anus was formed before anything else. So at one point, you were nothing but an asshole. The acid in your body is strong enough to dissolve razor blades, which is why your stomach is in a constant battle to not digest itself. When you get a sunburn, your cells are dying to avoid becoming cancerous. A sneeze can blow out of your nose at over 100 miles an hour. So next time, be careful, because it's actually possible to break a rib simply by sneezing. If you've ever been on a roller coaster and feel like your heartbeat is in your mouth, it isn't your imagination. Your organs are actually moving around inside your body.
You guys know some freaking creepy facts? I think the one that got to me is that we have enough stomach acid to freaking burn, like I said, the razor blade, bro. And they were literally born in that freaking butthole, bro. I never knew that was the first thing that formed, man. So we was all, I guess, the asshole one time in our life. Edit. Like I said, man, if you guys see any edits, man, call them out as well, bro. We all need to help each other, man, this community.
Adult jokes in kids' cartoons you probably didn't notice.
Hey, Judy! Want a party with a real bug? Yeah! Oh, lady, come like lava! Yeah! So, being a ladybug automatically makes me a girl. Is that it, flyboy? Huh? Right! She's a god!
Knowledge you wish you didn't know, Gandhi was racist and sexist. He kept a bunch of underage girls with him all the time. He would bathe with them, get full-body massages from them, and sleep naked with them in order to test himself. He also thought women were responsible for their own sexual assaults, and was totally cool with fathers killing their own daughters after they had been sexually assaulted for family honor.
Gandhi origins confirmed.
Lauren was shot 15 times, and 8 of those shots were fatal. Emergency personnel arrived at the scene, as well as local neighbors, so that they could assist. At that point, no one had told Lauren's parents that she had been shot. Lauren's mom, Bianca, was unaware of what was going on, and was just doing what she normally did, waiting at home for Lauren to arrive. But then, one of her friends pulled up to her house, asking if Lauren was home yet. Her mom was confused about this question, and responded and said, "No, why?" And the friend, in a panic, said, "Kids are down," and then left. So her mom, Bianca, didn't hesitate or even let her dad, Vern, know what she was doing, and she just booked it out the front door to make sure that it wasn't her child that was, quote, down. Lauren's dad, Vern, could tell that something was wrong, because Bianca wasn't the kind of person to just jump up, flee the house without saying anything or indicating what was wrong. So he knew something was up. So he immediately hopped in his truck and he followed her. There were tons of police cars, ambulances, people, and now crime scene tape blocking the area off. So Bianca was just looking around in a complete panic, trying to see if Lauren was there, while simultaneously trying to assess the situation and come to terms with what was going on, and that is when she laid eyes on Lauren. In that moment, her worst fears realized, and her worst nightmares come true, seeing her daughter on the ground, appearing to have been shot.
Okay, this is getting creepy. Without finding out where the doomsday fish washed up dead in San Diego just 2 days before California was rattled by that 4.6 magnitude earthquake. I mean, come on. Now for anyone that doesn't know, we've spoken about this before, but according to Japanese mythology, the oarfish, which is very rarely seen by humans, because they swim at depths of roughly 200 to 1,000 meters, well, is said to intentionally rise to the surface and beach themselves ahead of an impending earthquake, hence the name. And I made a video earlier this year when one was spotted before the Japan earthquake, and now again, for this one. So, now remember, there is no scientific evidence that has proven a correlation between them washing up and earthquakes. So as of right now, all we can say is just it's a freaky, freaky coincidence.
You guys believe that, man? It's 2 out of 2, though. He did one early this year in the fish and that freaking earthquake happened, and another one happened as well. So he's 2 for 2 confirmed, man. It's starting to not seem like a coincidence anymore, Seekers.
Attractions in the World Part 2. Today we're going to be talking about the 17th door. This attraction is so much different than the rest because actors are allowed to touch you. There's also a slight possibility that you'll get your hair cut here, which makes things like 100 times worse. put you through various levels and rooms that just kind of keep getting worse. The room that you're seeing here actually turns and spins while you're in it. It's really trippy, especially if you don't know it's coming. You can watch a walkthrough of this place online. A lot of commenters were saying that this doesn't do the place justice. Basically, they were holding back a little for the people recording, supposedly. Oh yeah, and here's their lovely little barber shop. I wouldn't go here, but let me know if you would.
I'm never going to any of those freaking haunted houses, bro. They're too extreme for my
Beetlejuice
taste.
is not going to try to marry Jenna Ortega's character in the sequel. I feel like the trailers make it abundantly clear that he's trying to get back with Lydia again. First thing he does when he sees her is he grabs her and he says, "I'm gonna make you so happy." He even has a picture of Lydia on his desk, and then he says, "Now's my chance." The trailer kind of implies that Lydia's husband dies at the beginning of the movie, so maybe the movie is about Beetlejuice trying to be a father to Jenna Ortega's character. He puts down the newspaper and it says obituary, so he probably found out someone died and he thought, now is my time. Let me have another chance with Lydia. You can even see in the trailer that he's at the altar with Lydia. You can also see a wedding cake in the chapel, and you see that this is Lydia with the red dress from the first movie. Like, the first wedding outfit is on the wedding cake. And we even see her in a chapel in the red dress. Because I know that Jenna Ortega is wearing a white dress here, but if she was marrying Beetlejuice, it would be this white dress. Also, let's be honest, like, it's 2024. I think they realized that they kind of made him look like a creep in the old movie and that society doesn't like that anymore, or they're not okay with that. And they acknowledge that in the musical. There's a whole song about how Lydia's marrying a creepy old guy and she's an underage bride. Also, this is a fan-made photo. But I know they added this character, I think her name's Dolores, that's gonna be Beetlejuice's wife. I can't wait for this movie though. Let me know your thoughts and follow my TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube for more. It really helps when you interact.
I never watched the first Beetlejuice, guys, so tell me down below, man. Should I check that out? They sound like a creep trying to marry an underage girl. I don't think they're doing that in the second Beetlejuice.
What did Smith really mean to tell us?
Y'all, we out here on vacation in the Bahamas. Another beautiful day. Check it out. Check it out. Boom. I want to talk to y'all for a minute about the power of perception. You see, there's a lot that goes in to being a hot social media content provider. For instance, y'all think I got time to go on vacation? No. I got social to do. Come on, man, this is blue screen. In fact, I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all. I haven't looked like this good in years. I've been totally computer generated since like the 90s. You know what? This ain't even real blue screen. It's 2019, y'all. Nothing's real.
Tell me.
The whole message is just freaking computer generated, man. That's really scary. It shows you how far technology has come, and you can literally just make anything, bro, on the internet. Location, your face, whole bodies. Oh, that's trippy.
Do you believe was Disney trying to tell us something? Crazy, right? Some things are just an optical illusion, right? Well, is this an optical illusion? Look at that and tell me you don't know what that is. Go ahead and tell me that confidently and mean it. Because you know darn well what that is. You can see it. No, that's not a carving. That's a petrified animal from the days of old.
Do you see this?
Yes.
Do you see this?
Yep.
It's freaking nature! And it's freaking awesome!
Yes, it is. And I don't think science can properly explain how these animals were petrified so quickly to where they were able to preserve their form through all these years. And you know, that really got me thinking. There's plenty of statues on this earth that are thousands of years old. Now, what if they were petrified beings? Now, I know, it's just a thought. And yeah, I can't wait for the Mount Rushmore jokes. And you can joke all you want, but I promise you truth is stranger than fiction.
These are 8 horrifying facts that will probably keep you up at night. There are thousands of old diseases frozen in the glaciers of the world, and global warming will eventually release them all. If a person dies in their costume at Disney, like Mickey Mouse, they have to be sat down on a bench so it looks like they're resting. Climate change is making spiders bigger. Some female spiders allow their young to eat them alive. Tooth in the eye surgery is when surgeons put a tooth in a blind person's eye to restore their sight. It was pioneered in the 1960s, and it actually works, and it's still being done today. The chances of a successful CPR outside of a hospital is only 7%. Cell phones are 10 times dirtier than a toilet seat. When you suddenly wake up during the night without any reason, there was someone or something staring at you. Yeah, there's a lot more, like for part 12.
Need to clean our phones, bro.
Even
ASAP.
the actor that plays Art the Clown vomited from how gross Terrifier 3 is about to be. In fact, there were a lot of really big production companies that wanted to be involved in making Terrifier 3. The creator ended up turning it down because he didn't want to have less gore and tone down certain scenes. To stick it to these companies, he said, we're gonna make it even worse. He even said that they're gonna make the bedroom scene from the last movie look like a little kid thing. Like, that is how intense this movie is going to be. That is the level that we're about to be on. It's supposedly an unwritten rule that you're not supposed to do anything to kids. Like when bad things happened to Georgie and it was like such a game changer, and so many people were like really upset that they would kid in a film. And I don't know about you, but I'm thinking of so many movies where they don't follow that rule. But they are not about to hold back. I don't understand how they can do like the bedroom scene and then be able to put that in the movie theater. The scene took 3 years to make, and it was so intense that people were either vomiting or walking out of the theater. But it was insane. It was so like an awakening. Terrifier the franchise is just known for upsetting the mainstream and pushing boundaries in horror, which I love. But when
In the beliefs of the Baloch people are associated with the mystery and deep silence of its nature and historical monuments.
Okay.
The cemetery of Jinn, what the Baloch call Jinn Sant, is one of these secrets. Locals believe that these tombs belong to the Jinn. They have buried their dead in the fence of these stones, and when night falls, the Jinn will appear on the graves of their lost ones and mourn them. They say that whoever goes to this graveyard at night will be cursed by the Jinn and will surely die with a severe punishment after a few days. Why is this cemetery known as the Cemetery of Jinn at all? The main reason is the tombstones of this cemetery. The tombstones planted in this cemetery are in such a way that they bear no resemblance to the tombstones of a human being. Although many of these stones were destroyed over the years, there are still traces of these tombstones, and there are so many that we can guess that this used to be a cemetery. The strangest tombstone of the Scary Fairy Cemetery, the strange part of this cemetery goes back to one of the tombs that is very long and wide. There is a...
Those tombstones. I just say they said it was a cemetery, but that was a circular shape, so that really has me raising some questions, man. We've seen a couple of clips, man, talking about jinns, but this one was really breaking it down for us. What do you guys think, Seekers? Should we go down that rabbit hole even more?
Ahriman created the desert spirit demons known as Da'avas to serve as direct opposites to the celestial angels known as the Holy Immortals or Amishas Bentus. For example, the demon Drudge, who represents falsehood, was created to be the polar opposite of Ashur-Vahishta, the archangel of truth and righteousness. Several of the Da'avas were once sacred Hindu deities who were brought to Persia and transformed into evil spirits. In fact, the term Da'ava or Deva originated in India as a name that meant shining ones, and it was applied to both gods and demigods. The Da'avas are not necessarily eternal, but they have been around for a long time, spreading disease and misery all over the world. They are also keen on leading mankind astray by encouraging people to worship them, rather than pray to a creator god. The Da'avas are supposed to be kept at bay by living a clean and decent life, and enjoying the blessings of creation. Unfortunately, even the most upright people are vulnerable to Da'ava possession for approximately 9 days after death. Evil people, on the other hand, can be possessed while still alive, and there are several purifying ceremonies and specific prayers that can be used to drive the vile Da'avas away.
I guess stay away from the Da'avas. They can take you over. The afterlife. There's definitely someone who's grunting, bro. Is it a graveyard too? Whoa. buried alive or something? Coming from hell. Okay, what the hell is that? You hear echo in the voice now. That little hole, is that the opening he's hearing it from? Is he like digging? You see the dirt on his hand, he was definitely digging something. What do you guys think, man? Was that an edit or was that legit?
You guys want to know why I'm low-key afraid of Dua Lipa now? So there's actually this Iranian folktale that my dad told me about when she first popped off. It's about this long-legged man named Dua Lipa, which basically translates to long-legged person. So the story goes that Dua Lipa wanted to cross this large river, and so he asks this water troll to help him across. So after some persuading, the troll reluctantly agrees to help Dua Lipa cross the river, and he asks him to hop on his back. But as they're crossing the river, the water depth increases, and the troll asks Dua Lipa to loosen up his legs so that he can catch his breath. But Dua Lipa refuses, and they both end up drowning. And apparently, the moral of the story is to not let someone you don't know control your life. I don't know if the Dua Lipa we know and love knows this story, but I think about it every time I hear one of her songs or I see her perform. And as amazing as she is, the Persian fable got me.
Who is Rostam?
Hey man, what she was saying, her name Dua Lipa was based off that story. And she's a freaking, like, you know, she's a star. And I guess they said the moral of the story was to, like, don't let somebody you know control your life. And that's kind of the main point of freaking stars, man. Where that's all you think about when you listen to the music and things of that nature. So there was definitely some similarities between those two stories, man. These freaking pop stars and movie stars and actors, bro. Now we got folklore based off their names now. What's next?
Rostam is a legendary Persian hero known for his great size and strength. He wore a panther skin, wielded a club, and is known for his 7 labors, prompting many to compare him to the Greek hero Hercules.
Okay.
Jinn.
Somebody like Hercules?
Jinns have no physical body of their own, and are creatures from an unseen dimension realm. Jinns can be both benevolent or malevolent. Jinns have the ability to predict the future, can read people's thoughts, have extraordinary strength.
I told you, bro. We keep learning about jinns. We keep seeing jinns throughout these clips. We're gonna have to do a deep dive into them one day, man. So they can be either good or bad now. Some new information we picked up. Well, you know, man, tap in with us.
A serial killer in 3, 2, 1. He has killed another girl, a 15-year-old girl. I don't mean to be rude, but his face looks like a piece of shit. His disgusting face is printed on the second page of all school textbooks. Doesn't this sound like a cult? Why should a 7-year-old kid see the face of a murderer every single day at school? Students have been drawing on his disgusting face for years now, because we hate him. Another good and accurate drawing. Students have been tearing up his photos like this. This girl was among the many who did that. But the Islamic Republic security forces raided the school and checked to see if they still have that murderer's photo in their books. And she didn't. So they beat her up. So bad that she passed away.
What? All because they didn't have him in the book?
Did you know that Black Friday actually means
Crazy.
something very different in Iran? Bringing up those words evokes memories of the Black Friday massacre, which occurred on September 8th, 1978. The Black Friday massacre resulted in the deaths of reportedly up to 3,000 people.
Damn.
And it was a pivotal point in the Iranian Revolution. Basically, this is a very complex subject to talk about, but at the time, people in Iran were fed up with the governing body, the Pahlavi dynasty, and they wanted the governing body of Iran to be replaced by an Islamic republic. That summer, protests had been erupting all over Iran. People were really fed up with what had been happening. There were all these weird events that were occurring, like a movie theater fire that killed over 400 people that people thought was linked to the Iranian government. And on that day, September 8th, 1978, thousands gathered in a public square in Tehran, Iran, to protest the government. But what they didn't know was that the government had enacted martial law just days before. So at some point during this massive protest, government officials started opening fire and massacring people by the dozens. Now, while some people claim that only 90 or so people died during this event, various other news sources, chronicles, people that were there claim that over 3,000 people were slaughtered on that day. And although this was an extremely tragic event that is still remembered in Iran to this day, this led to the overthrow of the government. So even though the Iranian government at the time that day tried to squash the rebellion by opening fire on these protesters, that totally turned around against them, and once again it led to the fall of the government.
Hey man, and what the freaking Black Friday was associated with that tragedy, man. And, over here Black Friday means, people they be going crazy and they be shopping, and how it, how sometimes it ends up really bad, man. I wonder, is that what the name originated from?
In 1979, 66 American hostages were taken in Iran. 14 would be released, but 52 would be stuck in Iran for 444 days. The hostages were released on the day that Ronald Reagan replaced Jimmy Carter as the U.S. president. Were they released because Ronald Reagan was a serious guy, or because Jimmy Carter negotiated the right way? 172 days after people were taken in Iran, Jimmy Carter ordered a military mission to rescue the hostages. The mission failed, though, because 3 U.S. helicopters failed, and another crashed into a plane. Jimmy Carter continued to negotiate with the leader of Iran, but he would not let hostages go. Finally, 443 days after the U.S. hostages were taken, the United States agreed to give Iran a whole lot of money and clear its criminal record in exchange for all 52 of the captured Americans. That's pretty quirky, but some people don't believe that story. Why? I'll answer that in part 2.
We've seen it happen before, actually, this year, about prison transfers.
There is a mysterious cemetery in the southeastern part of Iran in the village of Tis, an ancient village at least 2,300 years old. In the beliefs of the Baloch people, the Jinns are associated with mystery and the deep silence of this cemetery and historical monuments. The cemetery of Jinn, what the Baloch call Jitsin, is one of these secrets. Locals believe that these tombs belong to the Jinn. They have buried their dead in the fence of these stones, and when night falls, the Jinn will appear on the graves of their lost ones and mourn them. They say that whoever goes to this graveyard at night will be cursed by the Jinn and will shortly die with a severe punishment after a few days. Why is this cemetery known as the Cemetery of Jinn at all? The main reason is the tombstones of this cemetery. The tombstones planted in this cemetery are in such a way that they bear no resemblance to the tombstones of a human being. Although many of these stones were destroyed over the years, there are still traces of these tombstones, and there are so many that we can guess that this used to be a cemetery. The strange part of this cemetery goes back to one of the tubes that is very long and wide.
We've seen that in the first clip, man, but I was bringing it down even more.
The sky is telling us something.
What the hell? It's split. That's a weird ass phenomenon, Seekers. The sky was literally, the clouds was literally like split. What the hell, man? Hey, these clips, bro, breaking my mind sometimes. Whew.
Iranian salt mummies. In the Cherabad salt mine in Iran, several ancient mummies have been uncovered, and they're honestly among the most horrifying mummies in the world, not only because of their appearance, but also because of their tragic backstories. In 1993, the first salt mummy was discovered by workers in the local salt mine. The mummy had a long white beard, iron knives, and a single gold earring. Experts believe the mummy dates to 300 AD. Several years later, in 2004, another mummy was discovered.
and it was followed by the discovery of another mummy a year later. The sixth salt mummy was discovered recently, and the preservation of the mummy's body is astounding. His hair, bones, and internal organs remained intact. This is thanks to the high salinity of the cave. In fact, one of the salt men was so incredibly well preserved that his boots even remained intact. So much so that scientists could still see his toes through radiographic imaging. Upon examining the boots, they discovered the toes of the man curled tightly towards the tip, suggesting he was wearing uncomfortable footwear while working. Scientists believe that the salt men discovered in the caves were obtaining salt when they became trapped in the cavern. After all, many of the mummies discovered showed signs of trauma, indicating that the salt men were crushed inside the cave. It's highly likely that all of them were miners who met their untimely deaths while working inside the mines. Number 8. The Cannibals of the Goff's Cave. In 2011, a macabre collection was discovered at Goff's Cave in Cheddar Gorge, southwest England. Archaeologists stumbled upon a cave that was most likely inhabited by cannibals around 14,000 years ago, after the last ice age. Several bones were discovered in the area, many showing signs of butchery. It was clear that the victims were butchered by fellow humans in order to be eaten. When they were dead, their bones were cleaned and carved into cups. Quite gruesome, huh? Number 7.
Whoa.
Crystal Sepulchre Cave. In a cave in the Taper Mountain Nature Reserve are several skeletons. Many of them are lying with their limbs spread, befitting their tragic fates. The skeletons belong to people who were sacrificed by the Maya in order to appease their gods more than 1,000 years ago. The youngest of the skeletons belonged to a 1-year-old child, and the oldest was around 45 years old. Almost all of the victims inside the cave died of blunt force trauma, indicating that many of them didn't lead happy lives. Number 6. Lost Girl. Imagine you're exploring a cave, and you suddenly hear what you think is the sound of a young girl crying. You try to find the source of the sound, and after looking around, you do see a young girl crying all alone in the middle of the cave. That's precisely what happened when an explorer named Josh ventured into the ape cave in Mount St. Helens in the United States. They were far inside the cave when they began hearing the sound of a child crying. One decided to take a step back and turn around, but curiosity got the best of them. Luckily, they decided to walk deeper inside. As they walked further into the cave, and as the entrance became narrower, the crying noise became louder. They found a young girl in the middle of the cave who didn't speak English. Fortunately, they coaxed the girl into following them outside the cave, where her parents frantically looked for her. Number 5.
Yeah, heroes.
Moaning Cavern. The Moaning Cavern in Vallecito, California is arguably one of the scariest caves in the world. Not because of its daunting terrain, but because of the ghosts that allegedly haunt the area. The Moaning Cavern is popular for various activities in the area, from ziplining and gem digging to spelunking. What's more, the caverns are also famous because of the many artifacts discovered in the area. In the 1840s, gold miners discovered the Moaning Caverns, and inside, they stumbled upon arrowheads and other artifacts, including a necklace that's about 8,000 years old. Human bones were also discovered in the area. Now you're probably wondering how the cave obtained its name in the first place. You see, when the first visitors of the cave stepped foot in the area, they kept hearing wailing and moaning sounds, although we now know the unnerving sounds were caused by the wind. Number 4. The Haunted Mammoth Cave. Mammoth Cave is the most extensively known cave system in the world. Many people from all around the world visit Mammoth Cave National Park. However, aside from its natural beauty, it's also well known for paranormal activity. There are more than 150 documented paranormal events around the cave. Not only are the numbers significant, but the witnesses are also credible people, even researchers and scientists. Certainly, scientists have no reason to lie about seeing a ghost, right? For this reason, the Mammoth Cave is also known as the most haunted natural wonder in the world. In 1839, the cave was purchased by Dr. John Croghan for $10,000. For that price, the cave also came with several enslaved people, including a cave guide named Stephen Bishop. Many were delighted by the tours offered by Stephen, but Croghan had a different plan. For some strange reason, he wanted to convert the cave into a hospital. The doctor built 11 huts inside the cavern, and initially 15 patients were transferred to the cavern. It was the beginning of a disaster. Shortly after, the condition of the patients worsened, and Dr. Grogan himself died of tuberculosis. Many of the slave guides died years later. People believe that to this day, they still return to the cave as spirits to see how things are. One of the new guides claimed to have seen a family of African Americans in a group he was guiding once. However, after finishing the tour, the family mysteriously disappeared. There was also no record of the family taking the cave tour. If you want to get spooked, there are countless stories on the internet about the Mammoth Cave.
All those freaky caves. The one at the end, man, he tried to build a hospital and put it in a cave. That was not a great idea.
I will say this over and over and over again, but rabies is one of my #1 fears. It is one of the only viruses with a 100% fatality rate. You heard that right. If you do not get the vaccine and the entire treatment within the first couple of hours, you will die. There is nothing they can do for you. And dying by rabies may be quick, but it is not a fun process. As your brain is slowly consumed by liquid virus, it starts to rip apart each individual part of your brain, causing terrifying symptoms, like being afraid of water to the point of extreme dehydration and vomiting and nausea, to making you extremely paranoid and aggressive as it destroys your amygdala. It's safe to say it is one of the worst ways to go, and #1 on my list of irrational fears.
These are scary things hidden in your favorite Disney movies, part 4. First up, we have Tangled. In case you missed it, basically Pinocchio is found up in the rafters and it looks like he's not moving or nothing. Disney, please explain. Next up, we have the movie Moana. So if you look closely, you can see a carrot and a wooden hand. So does this mean that Olaf unfortunately melted?
Damn, I didn't even notice that. See, I travel down that road, bro. I don't know. I think I'm about to have somebody with me, man. I don't know if I can do that by myself. Too many things be happening in those freaking roads, bro. Especially those dark roads at night when you can't see nothing. It's just pitch black darkness. I don't know. I don't know what that was. Got some quantum computers, man, that they hiding.
Rapunzel is Cinderella's stepmom theory. So we all know that Rapunzel had 2 kids. But when you look up her kids' names, they go by Anastasia and Drizella. Who are they, you may ask? Well, they are the evil stepsisters in Cinderella. And yes, this Cinderella's evil stepsisters are Anastasia and Drizella. So if these 2 are Cinderella's stepsisters and this is a stepmom, then that would make Rapunzel the evil stepmom. So that would mean Rapunzel learned her evil ways from her.
Say it's a dinosaur corpse that was found deep in the Himalayas near a remote ravine. Others say it's a dragon's body that was discovered on an island off the coast of Spain. When the footage first surfaced, it spearheaded a debate about whether dragons actually exist in remote areas of the world. True believers hailed the footage as groundbreaking evidence that would surely rewrite the history books.
I'm gonna have to call Cap on that.
This is why you never want to get lost in the woods. This story starts off with a birdwatcher named Kumi stumbling upon an injured hiker named Moriguchi. After getting taken to the hospital staff is shocked to learn that Moriguchi survived on the forest floor for a month straight with only the snacks in his backpack. It seems like a miracle, but this is just a facade to hide the actual truth. Kumi decides to stay in the hospital with Moriguchi for his first night until he's woken up in the middle of the night by a gulping sound. On top of Moriguchi is a woman spitting something into his mouth. The woman gives Kumi a smile and walks out of the room like nothing happened. Moriguchi is forced to tell Kumi the truth, and that's the fact that after being injured for a couple days, suddenly a woman appeared before him. This woman would feed him raw flesh when he was hungry, and blood when he got thirsty. And being an injured and starving hiker in the woods, this was his only chance for survival. Kumi tries to catch the woman before she leaves the hospital, but she transforms into a bird and flies away. Moriguchi eventually heals and goes on his merry way until a couple years later when his body is found. And only a few days before his death, the raw flesh that he used to be fed was DNA tested, and the DNA was a match to Moriguchi himself. It's revealed that before his death, Moriguchi was being held captive by the bird for a month, but instead of feeding him, it kept ripping flesh off of his body. It turns out the bird was feeding past Moriguchi his future self to keep him alive, which I guess is the circle of life.
That's an eerie story, bro. That looked like a manga of some sorts. And he was like stuck in a time loop from his past and present self, keeping him alive. Plot twist.
This church is covered in skulls and bones. It's San Bernardino alle Ossa. But there are many myths and legends as to why there are so many hundreds of bones stacked over here. We have to go back to 1145, where there used to be a ospedale, a hospital, right next door, run by the Catholic Church, and they had a cemetery in order to bury their dead, but they started running out of space. So they had to build an ossuary, a small chamber where they would start to stack the bones. And amidst all the plagues and the disease and devastation, even that ran out of space. So they built a new church in 1210, with an even bigger ossuary. The church had terrible luck because it collapsed in the 1600s, taking down the ossuary and all the bones with it. 1695, they decided to rebuild the church and hired architect Carlo Giuseppe Merlo, and designed this beautiful oculus. But the most important part is the ossuary. And this is the most creepiest, most interesting section of this complex. Let's go inside. We're walking in the same steps as King John V of Portugal in 1785. When he stumbled upon this room, he was in such awe that he actually built a similar structure nearby Lisbon. And now behold the room of skulls and bones neatly stacked with each other and made into interesting decorations, such as the cross right up here. Now there's a few myths and legends as to whose skulls and bones these are. The most common one is that they are the victims of the Black Death that ravaged Europe and decimated the population by nearly a third. Another theory is that these bones are actually belonging to the soldiers of St. Ambrose who fought against the heretics, but also were killed in battle. Lastly, that these are the severed heads of men who were criminals, thieves, murderers, and people who did very heinous crimes. There might be some truth to these myths and legends, but mostly these were people who died at the nearby hospital, and the people who took care of them, the friars, the monks, and the priests. This is nothing new in Europe. Lots of orders in the Catholic faith actually stack skulls and bones in these fashions, like the Capuchin monks in Rome and many, many others. Would you walk into this room, especially at night? Do let me know. I think it must have a special magic seeing this at candlelight. And if we look above, we see frescoes painted by Sebastiano Ricci. And they're so beautiful, they have this 3D effect to them. Our relationship with death is very different from people in the Middle Ages. They would come over here and feel comforted by these bones. But nowadays, we feel afraid, we feel creeped out. Back then, death was a daily reality. You would see disease and war on a daily basis, and it would be very obvious, unlike today. How do you feel about death? Let me know in the comments. Stay curious, my friends.
See, could you guys walk in that room? All those bones just stacked up like that in a pile up everywhere. I don't know if I could do it. Won't be visiting that place.
Cursed TikTok accounts that you should never watch, number 25. Coming in at number 25, we have the account user 5282. This TikTok account has a video of a demon that has over 1 million views. And it said if you watch the video, the demon will appear in your nightmares.
Oh my god.
So this is a thing that I saw and I have to tell you about it. What that deer had is something known as deer warts. The disease began a couple decades ago whenever deer began to drink water that came as runoff off of farmers' fields. What would happen is farmers would put pesticides over their crops, Rain comes down, washes it into a gully, the deer drink it and get deer warts. There's a whole backstory about the pesticide companies lobbying with the government to not get into trouble, but we won't get into that right now. Deer with the disease develop these tumors all over their body that is super contagious, which is why whenever deer are found with it, they are put down. However, the deer is perfectly safe to humans, and the meat is even able to be eaten, although I would advise against it. Not for any health reason, just because it's gross. However, combine a deer wart outbreak with a chronic wasting disease outbreak, which is a prion that makes deer go crazy, and we essentially get clicker Last of Us zombie deer. So thanks, FDA.
We got clickers, bro, in the big 2025. Was not expecting that, man. Wow. That's even hard to wrap my head around. Obviously, they're not real clickers, but the way they look, you can't tell me, man, if you put a picture up of that deer with that disease and the clicker, that they won't look, that they don't look alike.
NBC News messed up big time, and this mistake is honestly just mind-blowing. And I honestly just feel sorry for anyone who's going to scroll past this video. So NBC News probably made one of the biggest mistakes of news history, and I honestly believe this wasn't even a mistake. I believe they did this on purpose. Just watch the video.
During an arrest in Brisbane last year.
Like ABC News, there's no coming back from this. They literally cut to a whole satanic ritual on live television. Oh yeah, and that's another thing, this wasn't even live. This whole entire news broadcast was literally pre-recorded. That's the reason I think this wasn't even a mistake to begin with. They had to have done this on purpose. And if you watch the video back, when they cut back to the news broadcaster, she literally acts like nothing happened. So they had to have edited this in since it was pre-recorded. I don't know if this is some secret subliminal message or what. You know what? That's what it has to be. The news does be on that type of time. Hey, but make sure to follow me, blow this video up, like, comment, and share with as many people as possible so we can cancel ABC News.
Seekers, that's it for this video for you guys today. If you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're a true seeker seeking the truth. I greatly appreciate the support. Make sure you guys leave a thumbs up in this video, comment down below, hit that post notification bell. You guys are gonna catch you in the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.